once you've kind of, to your satisfaction, gone through this path of exclusion, then boundaries start to dissolve between you and others, and you and the world and everything. So that's sometimes defined as a path of inclusion. Suddenly this expansive experience goes, vroom, you find another, I don't want to say another layer, but another orbit, almost.
The show I am that.
Yeah, and again, you know, once I started to dig into, you know, this philosophy, it turns out it's an extremely well-trodden path. And I guess partly what attracted it to me in the first place, aside from the fact that it was matching up to the fallout of my own exploration of hypnosis, is that the best teachers, if you want to call them that, of this particular philosophy were like technicians with language. It was not, you know, fancy language patterns or any of that, but again a relentless pointing, a relentless shining a light on concepts that you'd previously just taken as a given, that, well, that's who I am. So
precision, huh?
Yeah, just precision, relentless technicians, whether it's Nisargadatta, I mean, totally, you know, just relentless. But the kind of lineage of teachers that goes back from Rupert Spira, as a guy in France, I think he lives in California actually, a guy called Francis Lucille, and his teacher, I think he was originally Hungarian, real kind of Renaissance man, no longer alive, called Jacquin. And there's only a couple of videos of Jacquin online and one audio recording, and it's just had a profound impact on my life, particularly in terms of what, again, seemed like quite fluffy concepts at first about happiness and love and peace. And I guess one of the major things that I've learned from that is that we are seeking those things. We are seeking happiness in one way or another. We want to feel at peace. We want to experience love. And when we get something that we've desired, a guitar, a car, a relationship, for a moment we experience those things. You know, the moment may extend over days or years or whatever, but actually it doesn't last. We find ourselves seeking that stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the simple concepts that those guys introduced me to is that in that moment, the reason you're experiencing that stuff is because momentarily the search is off. It's a relaxation of this effort, and that what shines forth is your true nature, because when you really kind of look at it in this way, you will see that you're not lacking anything. Spira suggests that the opposite of happiness is not unhappiness, it's a sense of lack. It's a feeling that something's missing, that I need something. The opposite of peace is not agitation, or it's a sense of agitation rather. And that love, if you like, is an absence of distance. So when you take yourself through a practice, and you know, and there are various ways of adopting a non-dual practice. In fact, everything, just like, you know, I look through hypnosis and suggestion goggles most of the time, you can start to look through non-dual goggles and again begin to get a more intimate relationship with what you might consider to be your true nature. What becomes apparent is that you're not lacking anything. And again, if we take the process of falling in love, For a moment, the distance disappears, or for a time, the distance disappears. It's easy to make the same mistake as we do with the object, which is, I love you, or this brings me happiness, this gives me happiness. In fact, what it does is reveal, it allows your true nature to shine. And in that sense, we can then begin to express and share and celebrate peace and love and happiness, rather than constantly seek it in things. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean we can't return to the world. We can, of course, dance and eat and sing and do these things, but that is done in celebration of these things, as opposed to because we're trying to reach it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we don't need the go to the Himalayas. You can have a massively expansive experience, but for a moment, all that happened was you called off the search. So that gives me a great deal of comfort. And in fact, if you really, pour your head into these teachings, then you can lose your fear of death. You can, find yourself living in a way where, yes, life goes on and, things occur, but they don't stick to you in the same way because you're more transparent. So, if anything was approaching a personal philosophy, I guess it would be that I have a deep interest in kind of taking a stand as that and trying to speak from there and trying to do my work from there and trying to parent from there and do everything from that place. Does it mean that old habits and bits of conditioned behaviour don't rear their head? No, it doesn't. But when they do, you can immediately remind yourself that that is seen, that is also observed. And again, it's almost like...
It's like a map and a compass in a way.
Yeah, and it's almost like the process then gets a little shorter each time. It's almost just a reminding. In fact, I love the notion of self-remembering. Again, and one of the exponents of this stuff in the UK said, you don't have to transcend. You can also just be nothing. I like that. So yeah, that occupies most of my time because I get to travel and do lots of interesting things. But in terms of how do I, use the time I have, I engage in self-inquiry and contemplation and attempt to deliver, speak, and live from there, as opposed to striving, like happiness is just round the corner. And it kind of makes life a little easier. It's
yeah, we're kind of trained to think that you have to do certain things and attain certain things, have certain things before you can step into that beingness or that quality that you have inside, and that's a lie. Yeah,
it is. And I know when people are suffering, this kind of philosophical discussion can seem a little lofty and way off, but actually that is the best place to start.
Yeah,
to stop trying to work it out and to stop waiting and instead use that, just like in hypnosis, obviously we have this lovely concept of using pain as the focus of attention, and it's the same with any kind of suffering in your life. This is the thread. You've got hold of it. Don't try and ignore it. Say yes to it. Let it flare up. Let it express itself, and you'll find then it fizzles out. It's like shining a light on something and it just kind of frazzles up. in that light. So yeah, the non-dual frame has had a massive impact on me, and I it's not you have to talk about it all the time, or you have to kind of constantly be studying. There are traps like everything else. You can chase experiences of being and get caught in that. I think many people do. It even helped me make more sense of meditation, and particularly purpose-free meditation. Jean Klein's very, very clear on this. Meditation is not a doing, and it's not a not doing either. It is being. It is just that. And don't meditate to relax. Don't meditate to do this or to get rid of that. Just self-remember. Enjoy this spaciousness and recognize when you are that transparent, when you are that spacious, that you're intact. You're untouched, despite the history and the projections and the reactions and so on. You're intact.